Hello, world. It's the weekend, so let's get excited. Yes, it's the Weekend Roar with your host, Teressa B, presented by Amitza Media Independent, LLC, and broadcasted through MU Radio. Good evening, everyone. It's Friday, November 24th, 2017, at 5:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm excited you all decided to be here, and happy belated Thanksgiving to you all. If you missed our last show that provided you with a brief overview about Amitza Media Independent LLC and how this show was established, please check it out on our Facebook page at Amitza Media Independent LLC. One highlighted reminder is this show is currently on a trial period through the end of the year. This trial period will give us an opportunity to assess our overall pitch and format on various topics that are related to women. Our goal is to have at least 5 shows before year 2018. And tonight, we have hit our 4th show. Check out our Facebook page for the current schedule of our upcoming broadcast. This week, we will discuss the past, present, and future life of a woman who served in the U.S. military. But let's listen to this track and stay tuned to enjoy the Weekend Roar with your host, Teressa B. Back, and who is ready to roll? We're back with the Weekend Roar with your host, Teressa B. I hope you all had a productive week, and thank God it's Friday. So tell me, how did you feel about the song Believe in Me by Michelle Williams? Now that you are back on track with your goals that you have set for yourself, no one can tell you what's impossible because you believe in yourself and you're never going to doubt yourself again. Go ahead and share your comments by going to the Amitza Media Independent Facebook page and click the like and follow buttons first. I would like to read your comments and feedback on whether or not you connected with the song. There are also instructions on how to connect with us on our Facebook page. Now, our VIG, very important guest of the day, is Alisha Willis. Let's give a nice welcome roar to Alisha. Alisha was born in Worcester, Massachusetts. She's a mother, entrepreneur, and life coach, to name a few. She has served in the United States Air Force for 8 years and about 11 months, which includes a combat tour during Operation Iraqi Freedom. This is just a small percentage of Alisha. So let's get the remaining percentage from Alisha and show our love and appreciation to her. Welcome, Alisha, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Teressa. I'm glad to be here.
Great. I'm glad you are here as well. So, Alisha, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was wonderful. There's so much to be thankful for. So we really had a good time.
Great. That's good to hear. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving as well, relaxing and everything with family. So I had a really good time too. So it's good to hear that you also had a wonderful day. We're excited again that you're here to share the past, present, and future life of Alisha, who served in the U.S. military. So, Alisha, can you tell us all who is Alisha?
Well, I would say who I am today is very different than who I was before. Right now, I am a certified professional coach, you mentioned earlier, and I'm also the CEO of Igniting Fire Coaching. And I'm absolutely 100% passionate about helping people move forward. And I think the key area that I like to help people move forward is finding their identity and not who people said people were or what roles people have played, but really help them find who they are to the core of themselves. A lot of times I find that people are in conflict with themselves and they're really not happy with their everyday life, and they can't quite understand what's the problem. And when actually talking to realizing who you really are and not what others have told you who you are, you actually become more peaceful and more happy, and you can align yourself properly in doing the things that really make you happy or you enjoy, or even to exercise the gifts that you have inside.
Wow, amazing. Finding their identity, that really strikes back home for me because I'm not ashamed to say I believe that I found my identity this year. So I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm glad that I have, but I'm sure that as many people who are my age, even older, or even younger, still struggling with that. And I'm sure that with your skills and certification, it would be very useful, of course, for them, that they could get that help that they need on finding their identity, because I can at least speak as that walking testimony that when I found mine, it's not much that really bothers me as far as the different things that happens. Of course, with myself, I still have to deal with things with myself, but a lot of things, if I had to go back in my childhood or even in the military, a lot of those things that I struggle with a lot, if I actually knew who I was at that time, I'm sure things would have been better. Now, I do understand things happen for a reason, but it's still, I can tell the difference now that I'm out the military, how things have changed for me, and even looking back, how much I even appreciate the things that did happen to me as well. So that is very commendable, and I'm sure that a lot of people out here still need coaches like you to help find their identity. But I also know that they also probably want to get a little bit of background information on what led you to being that coach and helping others find their identity. So I know some of that did start in the military for you. So can you share with us what made you decide to join the military?
Well, I had no intentions of going into the military, and part of it had to do with my family dynamics changing dramatically. I was accepted into a college that wasn't really the one I wanted to go to. At the same time, I realized I wasn't going to be able to pay for that. So joining the military was a last-minute decision for me. And it felt like the right fit because it allowed me to travel, but also allowed me to get my education paid for. And that was a huge, huge thing for me. So that was the main reason why I went in the military.
Wow, so it wasn't country. Because some people who I personally even know wonder sometimes why I even joined, but a lot of times I guess it's still common at sometimes. I know the education, but it's also still common that other people may think that you just joined to serve your country, although helping others find their identity is still serving your country. So I think it's interesting to others that this is why you made your decision to join the military. And I think it's also interesting to know exactly different things that you've gone through while you were in the military. And can you share with us, how old were you when you joined the military, and what was your experience? How did you feel about it when you entered the military? I'm sure perhaps you've been potentially afraid or proud or even excited, but how old were you and how did you feel when you joined and the basic training experience?
So I joined the military when I was 17, but I left when I was 18. So I enlisted before I turned 18. And then after graduating high school, I then went very quickly to Westland Air Force Base and went through basic training and tech school. And it was very scary. It wasn't something I had ever imagined I would have done. So throughout my initial years, I had started off, and I would liken my experience to being like Private Benjamin from the Goldie Hawn movie. And everything I did was just awkward. It wasn't something that was natural. I was never interested in joining the military, and so it was very, very foreign to me.
I love your honesty. I love your honesty. I don't know about you, but I know I did it the same thing, like you said, as far as I never had interest, but I don't know too many people personally that would say that. So, but I do believe that there are a number of us that feel that way. We just don't say it. So I appreciate your honesty that you didn't have that interest in joining at that time. But I'm sure it was because 17, you said you enlisted at 17. During that time, your parents had to sign, or you had already, or you joined at 18 where your parents did not have to sign?
I had to join when I was 17 and had my parents sign.
Yeah.
And with my family dynamics changing dramatically, it was very challenging, to get my parents to sign those papers for me to leave. And they did it, though, because they knew that that's really what I wanted to do.
Yeah, wow. And, I even being a parent right now myself, I don't think I understood it back then, but I understand now. I can understand why it was difficult for them, because although they understood that's what you wanted, you were still a baby. You were 17. So it's just amazing how you decided to make a decision that was so impactful of, life-changing. Many of people wouldn't do that. At 17, it's probably still in their minds is partying or, what's the next college that might be fun. And here you want to join the military. So, wow, it's just amazing to hear that. And, I think it's also common that the family, your parents will resist as well. But, like as you stated, you turned 18 shortly after you joined. So I guess they looked at it as well, might as well, So, wow, that was really interesting. So as an 18-year-old, a brand new, a fresh 18-year-old, your experience during your basic training. Where was your basic training held, and what was your experience during that basic training process? And also, how long was that basic training period?
So when I had joined and I had gone to Lackland Air Force Base, I initially trained in security forces. And that training was an 11-week period after basic training. So we go through, I think it's 4 to 6 weeks of basic training. And then, is it 8 weeks? I can't remember quite yet, actually. Anyway, after you go through initial basic training, it's another additional 11 weeks. So I was there until about the end of the year, going through training.
So it was about a month and a half to 2 months of basic training, and then you had the advanced individual training for security forces, which was pretty much 3 months. You might as well, because 12 weeks, 11 weeks. So 3 months of training security forces. Wow. Okay. And this was your very first job?
That's my very first job, yes.
So security forces, I'm not too certain if that's really common, particularly for a woman, to join with the field of security forces. Did they give you anything for that when you joined, or any type of bonus?
They gave me about a $500 bonus. And looking back, that $500, I definitely think I would have looked into doing something a little bit different. But it played out the way it did, and I learned quite a bit.
A $500 bonus. Wow. It's amazing what we do at an early age, things that people wish they could do at 30, 40, 50 years old. But at the same time, $500, probably, because if I'm thinking back, I would have thought that was a lot at 18 years old. So it's like, but also I'm looking back like, did they just take advantage of you? $500 bonus for security forces. Security forces. Okay. Wow, amazing. And I'm sure you, like you say, looking back, you probably would have made a different choice, but would you say you wouldn't actually still regret that experience of joining the training experience? Would you say that it still was something that you can learn from as well?
Yeah, I definitely don't regret anything, and I think that's one of the things that's unique about me too, is in everything in life, even the good times, the bad times, there's nothing I regret. I believe that things happen the way they have for a reason, and I definitely walked away with a lot of security mindsetness, I guess, if you could say that. Just being aware of your surroundings and safety and security. So for those things, those were, priceless, as well as, security forces is more like the law enforcement of the Air Force. And so at one point, I was actually working on the law enforcement desk and working on the blotters and things, and learning how to write technical writing. It's very different than creative writing, which actually ended up helping me in my next career path, which was in procurement, in contract writing. And so everything just builds upon itself. So I have no regrets.
Wow. Okay, that's good. That's really good, that you can always learn from different things that occurred, whether you felt a certain type of uncomfortable emotion or not, still learning from it. I think that's always the key. But what about, did you have any friends during this process, during your training process, in the beginning stages? Any friends that you, close friends you had? And if so, are you still in contact with them?
It's funny that you asked that. I just recently joined Facebook, and I haven't been on Facebook for many, many years. And in July of this year, I actually joined Facebook and reconnected with two people that really were instrumental in my basic training tech school, and even just my first duty assignment, and that was Larson and Keith. And those folks married to have different last names, but I recently posted on my Facebook some pictures that nobody has seen, and unless they were very, very close to me, like immediate family. So I got a lot of responses and replies and shock saying, I haven't seen these, these are great, but it was a basic training and test school, and since I have connected on Facebook, I've been connecting with them, and it's really an awesome thing to be able to touch base with them again.
Yeah, and what I also like about it is, because what year was it exactly when you completed your service in the military?
I separated active duty in 2007, so 10 years ago.
So 2007. And these friends that you just mentioned, you met them in your beginning stages in the military, like in 99, 98, is that what you're saying? That's when you first met these women during this time frame?
Yes, in 1998.
So that's almost 20 years ago, right? Like, if I know how to count. So, but I say that to say, sometimes, people have there are mixed feelings about Facebook and social media, but we have to embrace the changes that occur in life and not always look at it being negative, because here it is, you had close friends, you were 18 years old, close friends with these women joining the U.S. military, and 20 years later, or almost 20 years later, shall I say, Facebook is how you was able to reconnect back with some of them. And if it wasn't for Facebook, who knows? Because, I'm sure one is thousands of miles away and here and there, and now you have this connection, you can keep up, you have, the photos can communicate. So the social media, just embracing that alone, and look how important and instrumental it is to society today, positive side of it. So I just thought that was interesting, all these years that you still, for one, can remember them, and for two, now you connected back, and it's through social media, Facebook. So I thought that was really interesting to hear when you mentioned that, and after all this time, you can remember some of the names. I was actually trying to think of some of my closest friends that I had at that time. I only remember two right now. I'm trying to remember the other name that stood out, but it just didn't hit me as you were speaking. But I may need to do some Facebook searching and see if I can go through that same method that was used for you and your friends. So I thought that was a really interesting, once again, for you to share that, because it also shed some light even for me. And now that we just kind of touched a little bit on your enlistment experience, as I stated earlier during the introduction, you had a tour, Operation Iraqi Freedom, during our Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I know that it was moments of being interesting, exhausting, exciting, and I know we want to know that. We want to get that, because I know that probably also played a part of why you want to help others, as you stated, find their identity. So Operation Iraqi Freedom, I know it's Iraq. Well, I can't say everyone knew that that's what it was, but can you give us some of your experience during that time? Where were you stationed, and what was your first experience in a foreign country?
Okay. So in September of 2004, I found myself on a 36-hour journey from New Jersey to Babylon, Iraq. And my first experiences in that journey were pretty intense, but also very interesting. I probably have one of the most strangest stories, and it kind of goes like this. So I left the house in September, and as I mentioned, and then 36 hours later, I was literally in Babylon, Iraq. Wow. When I entered into Baghdad, which was part of my journey to Babylon, I ended up taking a Black Hawk next to Santa Claus to Babylon. And I thought I was delusional. I thought, am I losing it? Because 36 hours, you're kind of really exhausted. You're almost not even coherent in some place, in some state. But anyway, and I remember looking at the pilot and looking at the co-pilot, and I remember looking back at Santa Claus, and I kept on doing this round, looking around, like, am I losing my mind? and Santa actually leaned over to me and said, "You can tug on my beard, it's really real." So I was like really questioning, what the heck is this? But ultimately, they needed pictures with the troops for Christmas in time, so they had Santa fly out on the Black Hawk with me. And as we're flying, we're going over rice fields, people are waving at us, sitting in the Black Hawk. Like, usually in the movie, you're thinking, this is not real. So, anyway, so I flew into Babylon, Iraq, and that was actually where we first resided for a little bit, for a couple months. And then about halfway through my tour, I ended up having to close that camp down within 72 hours and move it to another forward location called Adulania.
So, I'm still stuck on Santa Claus right now. So, Christmas in September. Christmas in September, pretty much. Now, okay. So, did Santa have on the full Santa suits, jacket, pants, boots?
Yes, and the flak vest and the serious. It was serious. Santa was really straight up dressed in complete Santa attire with a real beard.
This probably was one of the most strangest stories that anyone could probably have. You may be right on this one because okay, 36 hours from New Jersey to Iraq, and you're on the Black Hawk, and you're traveling there right beside Santa Claus in September. You're already petrified. And here you're going to Iraq, and you're sitting right beside Santa Claus. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Oh, that's already interesting starting up. And, well, I don't know if you mentioned, and I'm sure some of us want to know, did you actually, touch his beard a little bit, or no? You didn't want to go there?
No, I think I was like, okay, he got the point of myself looking around at the different people. I just kind of left it at that, but no, I didn't really touch his beard. But
wow, they got to be one of the strangest. I mean, at least coming from the stories I've heard and even read, I think you won that one. You definitely won that one. Wow, and here we got Christmas next month. But I don't think it will be anything close to what you had experienced back in 2004. My goodness, wow. Okay, so you get there, and I guess that part, did that kind of at least help relieve a little bit of that emotions, anxiety? Did that help a little bit? Because that was pretty weird.
I think initially, it did, because I was like, this is unreal,
Yeah.
And then when we arrived in Babylon, now I'm not only, I'm leaving Santa Claus to walk into biblical times, because I'm not sure if many people are aware, but Babylon, Iraq is one of the oldest cities in the world.
Yeah.
And a lot of biblical context around that specific location. And to go back into biblical times, getting off the Black Hawk is a whole other dynamic.
Yeah, wow, it's definitely, wow. Especially after you've, like you say, gone through that experience, and now you in Babylon, Iraq, and now you have the rest of this experience to go through. How long were you there? How long was your tour?
My overall tour in Iraq was about 4 months, but about half of that time was in Babylon, Iraq.
Right.
And then we moved to camp, like I had mentioned.
Okay, right. Okay, so during this time, because 4 months is still a long time, I don't know if many people can really picture, especially even starting off with your experience and then getting here to Iraq. I don't think many people can probably picture how long is really 4 months. So your experience there, I guess the first thing I'm sure we would like to know, especially around the 2004 era, I know we're all kind of curious to know, did you ever see or hear the enemy? And if so, like, even if you didn't, I know you still had some type of experience tied to that. So can you kind of share briefly with us that experience you may have had?
Sure. So in 2004, there was some major conflict going on, and I think one of the most public things that people were aware of was the hangings in Fallujah, where the contractors were hung. And so it was a very hostile time. So we were in full theater war in Iraq at that time. So when I had flown in, the days that I worked every single day, with the exception of Thanksgiving and Christmas. I had maybe a half a day off on Sunday just to go to church and then come back to work. My days were about 16-hour days. So for 120 days of not having really much time off and just enough to sleep and then get back to work, it makes it for a long tour.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. And
so,
go ahead.
Although in comparison to the other services, they stayed a lot longer than the Air Force did at that time. I know that since then they've extended the time of the tours, but it was an eye-opening experience because I was working alongside I was working with multinational services. So that means I was working with other countries. And then I was working on a multinational camp. So that means there was multinational services on the camp with us.
Right.
And I was working with multi-services, meaning all the different services like the Air Force, the Marines, the Navy, the Army. They were all present there as well. I was the only Air Force member there that was a female. I was with a captain that was a male, but I was the only Air Force female there. So women over there were very scarce. There was a couple from the Army and maybe a couple from the Marines, but overall, there wasn't very many females overall. So that was a whole other dynamic to work through. Not only was I working with other countries and how and doing business, because when I went over there, I was actually doing business on behalf of the United States and getting all of the equipment, protective gear, different things, setting up contracts for buildings to be replaced, and doing a lot of business with the nationals or the Iraqis, but then also I was also doing business on behalf of the other services. So we were very busy.
Yeah, wow. And so that's a lot to already take in, especially as you stated, you was the only Air Force female, only Air Force woman that was in this foreign country. And although there was other branches of women there, I don't think people really understand the extent of how, even though we're the same, because we're all represent the same country, but there still are differences with it for each branch. And for you to be the only woman in that particular branch here in a foreign country, not that long after 9/11 at all, here in Babylon, Iraq, which were, or for the most part, 120 days, as you stated, you were in Iraq, two different locations, and the only female Air Force female that was stationed in that area as well, to even think about even the culture of how this country is and just your experience and how and what you've gone through there by yourself. And you were still young, still a kid. I mean, sure, of course, you're still young now, but during this time period, I will hope that there was some part of your job that you at least enjoyed the most during this time. Hopefully, have you had any part during this tour where you enjoyed during this time your experience?
I think the best part of my tour over there was probably the cross-cultural communication. And when I say cross-cultural communication, I'm not just talking about other countries. I'm talking about just the inner services. Being able to understand the other people, where they're coming from, their needs, and then being able to help them, fulfill those needs in within a contract or monetary way. Just helping the other services and being able to communicate. That was probably my favorite. Even interacting with the Iraqis or the Jordanian or the other contractors, that was very interesting because I love culture. So although we might not have necessarily all understood every aspect of everybody's culture, we were able to appreciate that. And so that was one of my favorite things, I guess, about being over there. I remember a funny story when I was doing business with one of the Iraqis. I was actually pulled out of that business transaction because there was an emergency at the gate. And so when we went up to the gate, there was an Iraqi man that had some significant loss to his family and significant loss to his business. And so at the time, I can speak Arabic. I still can't speak Arabic, but I can speak Arabic. And at the time, there was no interpreters that were readily available, so we had to call on the Polish to come over with their interpreter. And I remember seeing the story, playing out before my eyes, where I'm literally trying to do and understand what's going on to a Polish interpreter who's trying to understand me to talk to the Iraqi. And it was really a little bit comical, but the best way that we got through it was just having patience.
Yes.
And remaining calm and asking key questions. And we got through it, but it was just a very interesting dynamic of having that conversation.
Wow. And you're referring to the local nationals, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And so I guess you would say that they treated you pretty fairly, or I guess if we was to look back, we probably wouldn't expect, particularly from women, that we be treated with respect. So with your experience, you had a pretty good experience with the local nationals during your tour?
Yes, I think that they were very cautious in working with me. I don't think they had been used to working with women very much. So it was very interesting dynamic in just that, communicating with women. And then doing business with a woman. I worked with a captain, I mentioned, and even with the other services, they would always want to go to the captain instead of coming to me because I was enlisted. And he would say, you have to go to her because she's the one that's responsible for that program, or she's the one that's responsible as a contracting officer. She's that person. I'm not that person. And so it was very different. It was very challenging at times for not just, working with the local nationals, but also working in their service and how they were looking at my title or rank versus the position I held.
Yeah, wow. And I wanted to at least add on to this that what I also like about that, just briefly with my background, of course, I'm U.S. military, U.S. Army, and I had the experience to be enlisted, and I retired as an officer. So one thing I noticed, not just during my enlisted, but as an officer, I always, till this day, and I don't think it will ever change, for people that don't know, enlisted officers pretty much the same in every branch. I've always appreciated the enlisted. I always felt like they knew the answers. I was so grateful that I didn't just come straight in as an officer. I was so grateful because I always kept that foundation of being enlisted. And I know sometimes it can be a little overwhelming that everyone is coming to you, especially if you're higher ranking. And sometimes it may even be the opposite, but it's very inspiring, I believe, for women to even experience, hear you here by yourself, the only Air Force woman in this area, and because of your skills and your abilities that you have and your strengths, now you have the men coming to you seeking assistance, not just the local nationals in this foreign country, but also the officers who, as you stated, they outrank you. But at the same time, they understood how much you meant and how much your contribution is to the team, that they respected you enough and realized that they need you. And I think that's very powerful message and experience that you had to share, and I believe is inspirational for many of us women that may have gone through something that we felt like we wasn't appreciated, or no one actually respected certain things that we have to bring to the table. So I think that that's really interesting, that you went through that and your experience. And I guess to probably state the obvious to end our talk with the deployment experience, did you ever think you might not survive? I know that might be an obvious question, but I'm sure we still want to know, did you think that at any, and if so, how often, shall I say?
Every day. Every day. I was wondering if this was my last day. I would go home and go to sleep, and I would go to sleep to gunfire. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to gunfire. And I remember this one time where I was just completely petrified. I had literally seen, up to the point of this moment, which I'm about to share with you, but I had literally seen death in my face when we did our ceremonies, or just, remembering those had fallen with the image of the boots and the helmet on top with the gun, the fallen soldier.
Yes.
And I remember tasting death when I have to swallow the toothpaste, run into a scud bunker because we're getting attacked. I would hear death when I was hearing gunfires and gunshots constantly, especially when you're sleeping. That can be very terrifying to wake up to every night.
Wow. Wow.
And I remember there was an incident where I had a medical issue that when I went to the doctor, it was a Navy doctor, and he said to me, Sergeant Willis, there's nothing I can do for you here. I'm going to have to medevac you up to Baghdad, and they're going to have to take care of you because there's nothing I can do. The equipment here isn't enough for me to take care of what's going on. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to die? And I remember someone coming up to me later and said, the plane that you're about to go on, that Polish helicopter, has been notorious for crashing. I'm like, oh, so this just adds to the pot, I'm already scared, have this medical condition, been petrified every day. I'm out there in the middle of war, and then now I'm getting on a plane that might crash. So I found myself getting on the plane because there really wasn't anything else I could do. I mean, if I stayed, you could get an infection and end up dying, or, something worse could happen. And so I had to get on the plane. So I get on the plane, and I remember however long the flight was, I remember it feeling like an eternity. And I don't know what I was praying, or what I was speaking, or what I was praying, or what language, but I know I was praying pretty hard all the way to bed.
Wow.
The fortunate thing, when I did get off the plane, they whisked me right in. They took care of the issue, and I had no complications, and then brought me to a med tent, which was probably one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. It was just a conversation that I had in that med tent that night. So when I look back of all that fear, anxiety just to get to the Baghdad, I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity to have a special conversation in that med tent with a Marine that night.
Wow. What a touching experience. And we're talking about, 120 days. 120 days. I just had a moment just 2 hours ago, and I was like, I can't wait till it ends. And you had to repeat the same thing of feeling like you may not survive for 120 consecutive days. Wow. It's again amazing what you've gone through, amazing where you are today as well. As a matter of fact, that sound means we have to take a quick break. So let's get our questions or comments we have for Alisha posted, and we'll be back on the Weekend Roar with your host, Teressa B.
Amitza Media Independent, LLC, an American media company dedicated in helping underrepresented and underprivileged women use their voices through various outlets, such as radio, social media, blogs, storytelling, and community outreach. Amitza Media Independent brings exposure to these groups of society by opening public dialogue with a vision to encourage every woman to recognize and embrace her value and inspire them to maximize their full potential. Its goals focus on building a better community of sisterhood that strengthen women to live healthier and happier. Creating a more precise illustration of the beauty of women in the world includes partnering with nonprofit organizations for girls aiming to maximize their attributes, encouragement, and recognizing self-worth. Visit us at www.amitzamedia.com, our Facebook page, Amitza Media Independent LLC, and the To Get Her Brave Women Facebook support group. Amitza, the brave girl, guiding the pathway to her strength, her wisdom, her love, her value.
We're back on the Weekend Roar with your host, Teressa B, and our VIG, very important guest, Alisha. If you want to appear on an upcoming show as a very important guest like Alisha, to save you some time, please make sure you check out our website, www.amitzamedia.com. That's AMITZAMEDIA. Our show and website captures a lot of the background information from how I established this platform to what Amitza is and where I see this show going in the future. And also some personal information about your host, Teressa B. Although there are a few updates since the airing of the first show, the establishment and foundation of Amitza Media Independent will never change. To appear as a VIG on a future show, you must request, complete, and return an interest form by contacting us using our email address info@amitzamedia.com or through the Amitza Media Independent LLC Facebook page. Updates will always be available on our Facebook page, so you're never behind. Now, Alisha was just sharing with her, not with her, Alisha was just sharing with us her military experience to include her deployment during Operation Iraqi Freedom. And right now, I wanted to before we transition to what's going on right now with Alisha, I wanted to also end our overview, our discussion, what Alisha shared with us about her military experience on a better note than what we did right before our small break, which was her 120-day experience. But overall, with your military experience, Alisha, is there a favorite place that you were stationed throughout your military career?
Well, I wouldn't say there was a favorite place. I would just say there was that favorite moment, and I think I started to lose it. The favorite moment that I had was in that conversation with the Marine in the med tent that night after I had got medevac to Baghdad. And in the conversation with this Marine, I found my purpose and why I was there. I'm not sure if you or other people have ever had that experience where you just wonder, why am I here?
Absolutely.
Like, why am I here? And so I'm over in this war zone. I never intended to go in the military. I never thought in a million years I would actually be in a war zone even after joining the military. And I'm doing international business with all different people, different cultures, working with multi-service on a multinational camp. It just blows my mind. I have no clue why I'm there. So, again, in this conversation with this Marine, I'm talking to him, and he's like, what do you do? And I say, well, I'm a contracting officer. I write contracts. He's like, well, what does that mean? I was like, well, I buy things. He's like, okay, what does that mean? I said, okay. Okay, I'm like trying to be creative. I'm like, okay, I spend taxpayer dollars to make sure that the military members over here have what they need. And he's like, well, like what? And I'm like, okay, like, you know your Wiley X's, your glasses. He's like, yes. I said, well, I bought those. Those are some protective equipment. That's just one thing. But I write contracts to do lots of things, whether it's, protective equipment or if it's supplies, additional services like the porta potty cleaning, things like that. And he's like, oh, okay. And he says, he started to tear up. And I'm thinking, what did I just say? What did I do? Like, I don't understand. Why is he getting upset with me? And he said, I really need to thank you. And I'm like, you need to thank me? I knew at that time the Marines were going out and clearing the roads and, putting their lives on the line every night to make sure that we were safe, and the things that they would do. And a lot of them were very, very young, the service members at the time that I was seeing. And I'm thinking, you need to thank me? You need to thank me? I just went contract. I buy things. Like, what do you mean you need to thank me? And he's like, you see my face. And now the whole time, like, I'm having this conversation, I'm not even connecting the two. And his face was all covered with, like, bloody rags and, gauze taped up on his face, his whole face. And he said, I need to thank you because it's because of you I have my eyes. And my mom and I were back tonight, and we had an explosive device that blew up, but we didn't lose our eyes because of you.
Wow.
And I was just, like, blown away.
Wow.
And so I think it comes back to the identity thing,
Yes.
and I can get more into details about the identity and why I became an identity coach.
Yes.
But this was like an instrumental conversation because I think a lot of times we wonder, why are we here?
Yes.
What are we doing? We're going through these motions and we feel like we're not important or that,
Right.
that we're not an asset to the situation. And in reality, we really are here, and there's a purpose for each one of us, and being able to tap into that is so crucial.
Right. Wow. Wow. And I think, as you stated about finding your purpose and understanding in your past experience, that all along that was a part of that natural life coaching exercise or experience you dealt with just during that time. So you had it then, and now transitioning, now you certified as well. I think that's really remarkable. And speaking of that, as your experience with this Marine and your military experience, that ties into how you was already this natural life coach that can help others, not even really noticing that. But now that you're certified, I know that you're now more engaged in that. Do you have like a healthy tip for us when it comes to your certified life coaching skills that you have developed over time? What type of healthy tip do you have to share with us as we move forward with our healthy tip of the week?
Well, a lot of the experiences I had when I was in the military were very traumatic or overwhelming, especially towards the end with, deploying and then exercises of war and things like that. So I would say probably one of the most overlooked, underrated tips that you could do is just breathe. There's so many different breathing techniques, and we know we've heard of maybe the diaphragmatic breathing. But one of the tips I wanted to go over with you today was about breathing and a nasal breathing way, just to help you to relax. There's so many things that happen when you breathe. It helps you calm your emotions. It helps you to think clearly. It helps to redirect your thoughts, your emotions. There's studies where that they've actually linked breathing to helping, calm your emotions.
Oh.
There's also studies that show that, breathing can help reduce your cortisol, which is actually the hormone that causes you to get belly fat. So just breathing, and especially, we overlook that. I think because we naturally breathe, that we take for granted that we can actually take a pause and just breathe.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I was trying to go through some of that as you was speaking about it, and what is it called again? The what type of technique did you say? The nostril?
Nasal breathing.
Oh, the nasal breathing.
Yeah.
Nasal breathing exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, and that helps calm emotions. And it's helping. It's helping now. I can feel it. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing the healthy tip of the week with us. And can you give us some more, as we end the show as well, can you just go ahead and share with us what type of life coaching techniques, or, well, you just gave us a technique, but what type of life coaching, I can't get it right out of my head right now, but what type of life coaching skills or what do you offer? What type of life coaching techniques do you offer the training? And also, how can we contact you in order to get these services from you? Life coaching services. What type of life coaching services do you offer, and where can we get this from? How can we contact you in order to get your services?
Okay. So I offer one-on-one coaching services. I also do group coaching sessions. But the group coaching sessions are really strategic, and the group that is attending are trying to accomplish the same goal or a similar goal. And so they're very intentional. I know we did one earlier this year, and it was about goal setting. So, so those are two areas. In addition to, I am in the process of writing a book, and I'm hoping it will be out in for sale in 2018. It's going to be called Crisis to Courageous. And so in this book, it actually will help people have some coaching questions that they can ask themselves in their own journey, and helping them find their identity as well as their purpose. So that's another thing. I have partnership with another company where we actually help entrepreneurs and choose their identity, but also in the business that set up their business in an expedited fashion. So this is a program where we have a mentor, a coach, and an accountability partner assigned to our clients and help them expedite their process to setting up their business. And I'm more of an identity coach, so I'm really helping them infuse their identity into their business, as well as coaching. So even though I'm an identity coach, I'm certified in the coaching process, so I can coach on anything. Additionally, I'm also affiliated with another part of that is an event we have every year. We started one this year. It's called the E3 Home-Based Business Expo. Okay. And the next one is September 29th, 2018. And it'll be at the Bethesda Marriott in Bethesda, Maryland. And you can find more information about that, but that's more for entrepreneurs as well, and helping to set up their business, empower, equip, and educate them. Okay. And to continue forward their business. Okay. And that website is e3hbbexpo.com. And then to get in touch with me, I hate to say all the websites.
Oh yeah, we need you. Go ahead.
Is you can contact me at Coach Alisha, COACH, Alisha, ALISHA, at ignitingfirecoaching.com, which is IGNITINC, fire, FIRE, coaching, COACHING.com. And that's my email, as well as I have a scheduling page, and people can just sign up or look for more information on my scheduling page, which is ignitingfirecoaching.schedulista.com. So the Igniting Fire Coaching and then .schedulista, which is SCHEDULISTA.
Okay.
.com. And so there's some there, and then also ignitingfirecoaching.com. You can find more information about our business there as well. And I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is Coach_Alisha. So there's lots of ways to connect with me.
Okay, great. And I will definitely post it on our Facebook page too for all the listeners and for those who may have been unable to catch all of this information to contact Coach Alisha. In addition to that as well, Alisha, when is your birthday?
My birthday is June 27th.
Okay, June 27th. Okay, so make sure in May you contact us as well so we can give you a nice birthday roar for June. And in addition to that, everyone, replay shows can be found at the Amitza Media Independent LLC Facebook page or our website, www.amitzamedia.com. I want to know your thoughts about what we just shared, what Alisha just shared with you. If you want to become a volunteer as a VIG, don't forget, check out our Facebook page or our website, Birthday Roars. Upcoming, the first show that we have for each month is when we do the Birthday Roars. So contact us. Any inspirational quotes or inspired or original, please contact us. Healthy tips. Don't forget, if there are any topics you want to hear more about, contact us as well. I'm sure we will try to get Alisha back on the show to, now that we got background about her, now we can get more of the life coaching skills that she has to offer in addition to that. So don't feel left out. We're going to have her contact information on the page, and we're going to see about trying to get her back onto a later date, for a show, so we can focus, now that we have her background information, more on those life coaching skills that we can also pick up. I want to take this time to thank the Lord for always being with me, my mother for never giving up on me, and my daughter for loving me unconditionally. Methodist University Mass Communication Radio Department, thank you as well for this opportunity. And of course, our VIG, very important guest, Alisha, thank you so much for your input and your time.
Thank you so much, Teresa. It's so nice to be able to be on this program with you, and what you're doing is amazing. So I really congratulate you and champion you, and I'm so honored to be able to be part of this today.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time, and I'm honored too that you are willing to share your story. And I know we're looking forward to entrepreneurs for this upcoming expo event that you have in September, less than a year, everyone. That's going to be posted, and your book. I can't wait to read that myself. Crisis Too Courageous. I can't wait for that to come out as well. So thank you so much as well. I appreciate it. And everyone, here's my disclaimer. I am not establishing this platform to persuade anyone to change their beliefs, nor am I attempting to replace whoever you look up to. I'm simply creating a pathway for us to use our voices to uplift, inspire, and support and love one another while building a stronger community of positive and brave women. I also didn't want to forget about our inspirational quote of the week, which is an inspired piece from an unknown author shared by Sonia Calloway, who currently resides in Texas. Thank you so much for this piece, Sonia. And here it goes. Every woman's heart has different instructions. They're written through her eyes, in her smile, through her actions, and in her tears. She just has to find someone who cares enough to read them. Thank you all for listening to the Weekend Roar with your host, Teressa B. Have a wonderful weekend. A story is a message that reveals a particular act, event, or occurrence, and can also be purposeful to help someone else in need. Everyone has a story, but only the brave have a purposeful one. Good night.